Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather, and on this channel we'd like to walk a very fine line between a shopping addictive makeup monster and a responsible adult with a makeup hobby. Now, I really enjoy eyeshadow singles, duochromes, multichromes, blush, highlight, lip gloss, basically everything except pressed glitter, and today I'm so excited to be sharing with you the palettes that I'm going to be trying out for April. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick with me, we're getting into it right now. Now, for those of you familiar with my project, this will come as no surprise, but if you are just coming into this video and have not seen my prior videos talking about this project, I have a bunch of unused eyeshadow palettes in my collection, and it is my goal this year to get good use out of all of them. So I've created a little bundle for each month to sort of get new palettes into my collection, get some use out of them, enjoy them, and then rank them for you at the end of the month. So this is going to be the collection that I am going to have for April. With each of the collections, or each of the bundles, I did include a face palette, and for this month it is this face palette here from Rouge Labs and Elle Lexxa, maybe? But this is her blush palette. It came out, I want to say, about a year ago or so, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need this palette. And then a bunch of stuff happened and I just kind of forgot all about it. And then recently this popped back up in my Instagram feed and was like, hey, this is like 50% off now. And I'm like, don't have to tell me twice. So I did go ahead and pick it up. I'm really excited to have it. I love that it has sort of that it color, the bubblegum Barbie pink, but then you also have some more like warmer shades, some, you know, kind of more tame pink shades. And then these are supposed to be highlighters. I'm not sure that any of these will actually work on my skin tone, but I'm more excited for the blush anyway. So this is the face palette for the month. I'm trying to keep them like diverse as possible in each of the monthly collections, so I'm trying to bounce between brands, although it's not always successful. But then I do have one Rouge Lab palette. They do different cover art for the sleeve versus the actual packaging, so I did want to show both of those, but this is the Can I Exist palette. And it looks like this. It has this like holographic backing, which I'm sure is going to drive my camera crazy, but that's all right. And the metallics seem pretty standard in here, but the mattes I thought were pretty cool with this really bright pink and the dark blue, the lighter blue. So I'm hoping I can get some kind of interesting shades out of this one and do some cool looks with it. But it definitely has more of that like private label formula look to it. So we'll see what the quality is like. Next, I have the Cytrynada palette, and this is from Glamshop, which is a Polish indie brand. And I think I have gone into this one like once maybe, but I do want to get a little bit more use out of it. This shade is what attracted me to this palette the most because it is so sparkly and beautiful. But I do want to try to get use out of the other shades as well. And when I tend to go with warm tones, I tend to like the yellowy mustardy warm tones rather than like the orangey warm tones. So hoping I'll enjoy that one. I have the Muse Beauty Honore palette, which this brand actually doesn't even exist anymore, which is how sad a state of affairs my collection is at this point, because this palette is still unused and this brand went out of business. So I'm excited to give it a try. The shimmers in this one definitely give more of that sort of like standard shimmer formula, so it may or may not be super exciting when I give that one a try, but I did really like this sort of like art history vibe. Not a huge fan of how big the packaging is though. Another indie palette that I'm looking forward to trying this month is the Copacetic Cosmetics Haze palette, and this one I picked up during Black Friday. Look at how pretty that is. This is a jeweled like black based multi-chrome here in the center, and then you have some sort of like duochrome and sparkly shades. You've got two iridescent taupery shades and then only two mattes in the palette, a lighter one and a deeper one. I definitely think I'll be reaching into other things to sort of complement this palette, but I picked this palette up especially because of all the sort of metallic-y shades in here. So I'm looking forward to giving this one a try. I think originally this was like $50 maybe, and I just couldn't do it, but on Black Friday it got reduced and I did go ahead and pick it up. Next up, we'll talk about some neutral things. So I did get the Milky Way palette from CColor Cosmetics, and they do like some dupe palettes, and I saw this one originally at TJ Maxx. It was like $5, and I ended up putting it back the day that I found it because I was like, I don't really need it. But then CColor had this like going out of business sale, and all their palettes were a penny and you just paid for shipping. So I ended up getting this for like a penny, which was pretty cool. And with the exception of this like gross shade here, I think everything else in here definitely like looks pretty. It does kind of look like that shade may have melted because there is like some streaking on the edge of my palette. This room sometimes gets really warm, so I wonder if that's part of why that happened. And it does look like this pigment is no longer sitting in as much of the base as what it used to, so that's fun. But the sort of like cranberry tones in here I'm looking forward to trying. Again, I'm not super into like the warm tone neutral kind of aspect of this palette, so this one will probably not be my favorite of all time palette in this month's ranking. But I'm hoping that by giving this one a try, I can kind of settle down from buying the Huda Naughty palette, which is what this one is duping. I'm a little alarmed about that melting business though. I don't know. All right. Next is the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism, and I think I've gone into this one maybe once or twice for some mattes, but I haven't used the metallics in here, and I definitely want to give this palette like a good fair chance. I do like that there's some sort of pinky undertone shades here, that it goes really, really deep, and I've been told that this formula here is what is in his new launch that's coming out, this, what is it, Mushroom Moon or whatever, that those are the same formula, so I'm excited to give these a try. I did order the new mushroom collection, so when that comes in I'll definitely get a video up for you guys. But yeah, looking forward to giving this one a try. Again, it's neutral, it's not going to be my all-time favorite, but I am a Lunar Beauty collector of sorts, so I did end up picking it up. The other palette I have for this month that's very neutral is the Okavango Safari palette from Nomad, and it looks like this. Now this one you have that like row of neutrals, but you also have sort of those swampy greens that I really like, and then some cooler tone shades here at the bottom. The newer Nomad formulas, I feel like the metallics are pressed really hard, so I'm going to have to see what I think about the metallics in this particular palette, but we'll see. I think this one is going to be a very promising shade. But yeah, I wanted to include that one. And then I did also include the Bella Beaute bar. This is the recently, I did also include the Bella Beaute bar recently de-influenced palette, which looks like this. And here is the color story for that one. I think this like cool toned area is so eye-catching for this color story, and I actually don't even mind too much the sort of like cranberry reds here. These orangey shades are definitely less my vibe, but I think I can make these two work with some of the cooler toned shades in here and still make color stories or eye looks that I find visually appealing. So I'm looking forward to giving that one a try for sure. And then from Adept Cosmetics, I have the Ninhydrin palette, which looks like this. I still have the like little plastic wrap on it, like literally all over the place. But this is the color story. Again, you just have the two matte shades in here. Everything else is very sparkly, but I think this looks so pretty. I can't wait to dive into this and really give it a try this month. The fact that most of this palette is like sort of toppery shades, I think is going to complement the rest of the palettes that I picked out this month pretty nicely. So I'm looking forward to giving that one a try too. And then we do have the Klarity Lost at Sea palette, which looks like this. It has those sort of like cut-edged rectangular pans like Odin's Eye does. I think this is the only palette that they did that in, and then everybody kind of freaked out, so they stopped doing that. But I think the color story is interesting. You've got these kind of sea glassy shades over here, some more bright shades over here. This shade in particular looks so sparkly and dynamic, like my lighting is really playing with that one quite nicely. And then I think this blue is going to be really deep and gorgeous on the eyes. So I'm looking forward to giving that a try as well. Two more palettes, you guys. Really, I'm going to try to get through all this in the month. It's hilarious to think about. The next one is the Cosmic Beauty Muse palette, and again, it's got kind of the like swampy greens and browns. I think this is pretty, but of all their palettes, this is probably my least favorite color story, but I still wanted to have it to sort of complete the collection. I like the soft muted rosy shades that are in here too, so I'm looking forward to seeing how I can kind of blend those things together instead of just doing all monochromatic looks all the time. And last but certainly not least is the Pastel Dreams palette from GiveMeGlow Cosmetics, and the palette looks like this. I think this is a very pretty color story, and again, I've just been trying to sort of space out all the different palettes that I have in my collection to kind of give a good variety each month. So this is a pastel one that I chucked into this collection, especially with April, you know, you got spring and Easter and all that coming up, so I think this will be a fun one to use. The metallics in here, I'm not sure, like they definitely have sort of a duochrome shift to them, or just like a brightness to them. when the light catches, but we'll have to see how that actually plays out on the eyes, if it actually like holds up all day and if it has any kind of like dynamic sparkly quality or if it's just kind of a standard metallic. And with that said, that is everything for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!